Hey everyone, it's Mykal Harp, and I have a very special guest today. This is Tory Reed is joining us, and I'm going to let him introduce and tell a little bit of his backstory. But Tory came to me months ago with wanting to approach a different way of dealing with a cancer diagnosis. And I absolutely love working with these people who are willing to kind of not only take Western medicine, but also to incorporate other ways of dealing with this. So, one, I want to be clear, I'm not a doctor, and everything that I say and encourage here is about a metaphysical approach. It's not Western medicine. So, I'm going to be clear about what my role is in this. But let's talk to Tory. And Tory, tell me, tell everyone about your initial reasoning of approaching me and what you had been diagnosed with and why you decided to come see me.
Well, hi, Michael. Thank you for having me. Yeah, my story got kind of back. Well, I would say it kind of started about a year and a half ago, where I was having some indigestion problems, and I went into the emergency room, and they just said, "Up, it's maybe acid reflux." Gave some medicine, went back home. A couple of months later, I was back in the emergency room doing the same thing for the same problem, and it was kind of frustrating. But I just thought, man, I'm going to have some indigestion or acid reflux issues for a while. But it was kind of different for me because I was a relatively healthy guy, and I didn't understand where these diagnoses were coming from. And then on the third time that I went to the emergency room, I said, I know this is not what they've been telling me. It's not acid reflux. It's not indigestion. It's not a heart problem. I had a heart attack back in 2019. Uh, Another surprising diagnosis for me, but I knew it wasn't any of the things that they were telling me. And
Mhm.
so finally, they decided to do the CAT scan with contrast, and that's when they found something on my pancreas. And initially, it seemed like they didn't even want to tell me that it looked like it might be cancer. Um, but we got through that diagnosis, and I'm facing what for many people see as a terminal uh, diagnosis for the type of cancer, which was pancreatic cancer, which has not a good survival rate. It's about 20%.
And
Folks,
that actually surprises me that it's that high. I thought it was actually, um,
they say it's 10 to 20 now, and the average lifespan after diagnosis is 3 months to a year.
wow.
Yeah. And the biggest issue with pancreatic cancer is that they just find it too late. I was a lucky one. Mine had not metastasized yet. So the possibility of surgery was part of my prognosis initially. Well, it wasn't initially, but I found somebody that said, yes, we can do it. But initially, I'm sitting with this diagnosis, and to be honest, from the beginning, I never felt like it was going to be a terminal disease for me, but I knew it was a serious disease for me, and so one that based on the people around me, my wife, and particularly my daughter, who is really big into alternative self awareness, energy, light, sound. I mean, just she is aware of that different realm. And for me, it was like my daughter's kind of out there, I would say, when it comes to medical healing things, and I would just let her do her thing and never really inquired it. But now I'm sitting in a situation where the Western medicine is telling me your likelihood of surviving this is very small. I was really open to just about any kind of methodology that might be able to help. And so that led me to my wife finding you and exploring other alternatives.
Yeah, and working with energy is so interesting because it's something that a lot of people don't truly understand. And so when I hear you, what I want to point out is when I hear you say something like, I never really believed that it was going to be terminal, is very powerful energetically. When you have that mindset that, you know what, I just don't feel like this is going to be terminal, even though you hear the doctor telling you that the likelihood of it being terminal is being influenced on you, because as soon as they say that, most people are going to have a really, and I'm sure even you did, have an emotional reaction to hearing that, right? This is the energy at work. And so when you hear that, and most people will go into fear about it. And the beauty of so much of what when I worked with you is that you really never went truly into fear of it. I mean, you probably dipped in and out of it, but you never just drowned